Alright guys, there you go. Sorry I'm a little bit later than expected to the party. Because in actually about 3 minutes from here we have the GDP data dropping. Um, yeah, so there's not that much time to discuss. Let me quickly open the chat and some other stuff. I see the first people joining in for today's stream, so that's amazing. Yeah, let me quickly check out what is going to be next year. We have 3 minutes before the GDP data is going to drop. I think it will be a wise idea to very swiftly discuss what we are looking into and how the data expectations are looking like for today. Because there we have it, the GDP growth rate for Q3, the second estimate. We have a previous one of 3.8%. And a forecast of 3.2 this time. So everything you see coming in below 3.2 is definitely not going to be so good. Everything slightly above it is going to be neutral, I think, and like a big outlier is going to be a very good sign, of course. So let's see how this is going to play out here in the short term. Base Daniel, hi. Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for tuning in. But that's what we are looking into. So this is the most important number, which we are going to see deviation from or not. Both possible. So let's see how that's going to be playing out. What else do we have? Some core PCE prices and some other stuff. There's more data dropping at the exact same moment. Not as important, I think. Data will be dropping in 1 minute, so I'm going to be a little bit more silent now, but we are going to check it out on the in our notifications and of course on trading economics itself. There we can see it coming in. Also, let me open some other stuff. Okay, there you go. 1 minute left. Few seconds left. Moment of truth. Okay, there we go. GDP growth rate. Whoa, 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 whoa! It's crazy high. Holy, it's much higher than expected. This is going to have a big effect on Bitcoin. Let me open the Bitcoin chart quickly. Whoa, it's much higher than expected. This is going to be causing a big effect on Bitcoin, I would say. Actually, we are not even doing that much on it, but it's much higher than expected. Insane. The US economy is growing very quickly. That is interesting. So GDP is much higher than expected. I would say I would say it's bullish. There are people who would say it's bearish because it lowers the chance of more stimulus, more rate cuts in the near future. But I would say it's very good looking data, to be honest. Since in the end, I think the US economy growing is going to be net positive for Bitcoin. Okay, just quickly posting it on X. It is crazy that we are not even doing much on the data, but this is going to have a big effect. Maybe traders are not certain how this data might have been affected by the US government shutdown, but actually the expectation for today was that the data was going to come out worse than expected, but it's coming in higher than the previous one and much better than the forecast actually. Let me see what is getting stated about all of this. Yeah, just much higher than expected. Not that much about it. Let's see how the US futures are. Bitcoin is flipping positive, but it's not much. Let's see how the US futures are looking like. US futures. Not doing an awful lot actually. Crazy that we are not really moving on the data. It's not a very good sign, honestly. There is a lot of volatility here for the futures. UCP growth surges to form between strongest growth since Q4 2023. Insane. This is how insane the data is. Yes, indeed, the GDP growth second estimate sub 1 million too. How do you interpret the durable goods order? Actually, I don't really look a lot into that data, to be honest. So I could come up with a lot of wise words, but actually I don't know, to be honest. But yeah, this GDP data is definitely quite the insane data. I just posted it here also. So I'm really surprised we are not really moving on it. That is usually not a very good sign. Oh, I thought... I thought that I posted it, to be honest. But it's not. This is weird. Okay, my own page is just not loading or something. So live stream still on. Seems like there are some connectivity issues. Yeah, live stream still. Okay, amazing. Just quickly checking. I did the post on my page, but I don't know why it's not loading. That's weird. Seems like X is experiencing some problems. Then let's go back to the notifications. Those I can check. Real GDP. Yep. Much higher than expected. USA GDP. It is quite insane that we are not really moving. We are even dumping on the data. Like, what the hell? I must say, and actually I prepared a post about this morning, and we posted it on the Crypto Rover channel, which is not loading for any reason. Let me see if I can find it this way. No, actually, X is just not really working. So I guess I can't show it. Let me check if I might have it in trading view still. Bitcoin is actually coming down here. Very weird to see, but it's something we have seen before during the other GDP data releases. Bitcoin dominance is moving higher. Okay, give me one moment to get you guys the chart I'm looking into. Okay, it's not working too. There we go, one moment. Going to quickly share something. Okay, it's working again. X is back. Let me come back to the screen. Sorry guys, had some problems there. Going back to the stream because we might have a reason why Bitcoin is going down. If we go to Rove's page, we did post about this morning. Here we have it. We're actually the first ones to highlight this. Where you've seen the previous GDP releases, gross domestic product, USA. Then we had that entire US government shutdown, and now it was the first data release once again. So that was why I would have been expecting that. Wait, I see something coming out. Okay, we'll read that a little bit later. So I would have been expecting a positive Bitcoin reaction from here because the data came out so good. But on the other hand, we do know that after the other GDP releases, what we saw before the shutdown, we actually saw a dump just after, just the first or second day after the release or at the release day itself. And after that, we saw a quick recovery for Bitcoin. So if that could be the same once again, we could see, for example, Bitcoin drop to 85, 84K. And from there, we could see a quick recovery back up if the GDP scenario is going to play out once again. It is definitely an interesting chart to keep our eyes on. I think it's a very interesting scenario. And also pattern that we have been seeing playing out. And I just see this dropping. Here we have all the GDP data stated. So last time 3.8, now 4.3. But US economic growth loses momentum. The US economy grew faster than expected in the third quarter once again, driven by strong consumer spending. Growth exceeded forecasts but has since slowed as higher living costs and a prolonged government shutdown weighed on activity. Much of the spending boost came from temporary surge in electric vehicle purchases before tax credits expired. Okay, I don't necessarily know how accurate this data is and this story because there's no source or something. And as far as I knew, the expectation was much, much lower because the US government shutdown. So it is a weird reason to now state it while you're seeing good growth for the US economy. I think it's looking very good actually. What else? The annualized quarterly rate of core PCE inflation came in at... Okay, let's see. Let's jump back into the data. $2.9 core PCE prices, indeed. Actual 2.9, forecast 2.8. So that inflation number is a little bit higher than expected, actually. Consumer spending. This could then be a good reason for the GDP growth. Here, real consumer spending 3.5 from off 2.5. It could be a good Reason of the GDP, GDP sales. All right, corporate profits 4.4, much higher actually than expected. Growth rate, we just talked about that. Crazy data. Durable goods, I should look into the durable goods. Is actually coming in much lower than expected. So that might be an interesting data point. And actually before that we saw also the ADP employment coming in, which came in a little bit lower than last week. Let's go back to Bitcoin. It's not doing a lot. It's amazing to me that we're not doing a lot on this news. Actually, US futures saw quite a big dump here. Now moving back up. I would say this is most definitely going to cause some volatility also for the US stock market opening, which is about to occur in about an hour, I would say. Bitcoin going down. Indeed, Bitcoin going down, which is crazy to me, actually. So the data is definitely not looking too bad, honestly. Okay, let's dive into some charts then. We've seen the GDP data. We'll just keep a close eye on that Bitcoin price action here. Looking into some charts, we have the Bitcoin underperformance, like I outlaid in this morning's update video. We have the Bitcoin versus gold scenario still in play, where Bitcoin tends to see the biggest moves once the gold cycle top occurs. So the new move for gold, such a big move, is definitely surprising me a little bit. Actually, I would not have been expecting such a big move higher once again. But it's happening. And then you're still eyeing a potential cycle top once again for gold. And that could be the reason why at this top, Bitcoin did basically nothing. And also topped out because underlaying, this was not the cycle top for gold yet. And it's moving higher once again now. So we have an explanation for that now. And then we still have this theory in play where once you do see the real gold cycle top, that's usually the moment where the biggest Bitcoin moves begin. After a slight little dump, we see big moves occur. Bitcoin remains to me underperforming here with the US stock market, Nasdaq, gold, silver, Dow Jones. It's basically underperforming against all of the other asset classes. Holiday season about to start tomorrow, where we see some mixed returns, to be honest. But actually last 2 years we saw a positive return during the holiday season. What I'm talking about with the holiday season is actually, let me see if I can show this, the day from Christmas Eve, so 24th of December, towards the 2nd of Jan. So day after New Year's Day. That is what I'm looking into in that case. And yeah, we've seen some mixed returns. And like stated last year's, we saw a good return for Bitcoin eventually. On Friday, we have a majors options expiry incoming. So I would say that this could be causing some volatility, but it might already be causing some volatility because big players are repositioning themselves, not only because this options expiry, but also just because at the end of the years, that's what the big players do. They're repositioning themselves in the market. It causes a little bit different price action than we usually see for Bitcoin. And let's be honest, that is definitely something which we can see back in the Bitcoin, let's say 4-hourly price action here. Since, of course, that big drop lower, we've seen some weird price action with these big corrections and big pumps back up with also consolidation. But yeah, this is what happens in a low volume environment. There's not much needed to dump the price for much further down or to pump it back up. So yeah, that's just what happens in a low volume environment, I would say. And this is definitely caused by the fact that there's simply not a lot of trading going on now. If so, it's mostly repositioning, not really taking in new and big positions. I think that is to be expected around the yearly open once again, that we are going to see some bigger positioning taking place. I think whales have mostly left the market for now and will do so for a few days longer also during Christmas. I'm not expecting a lot of activity there, to be honest. But if Bitcoin is going to make a big move, it is interesting to see how it will be approaching the yearly open, for example, because the Bitcoin yearly candle itself is now red. We usually don't see two consecutive yearly red candles for Bitcoin after each other. So that's going to get interesting, because if this year's candle closes red, it would mean that, or in 2026 we just break that cycle, and then we should be looking entirely different into Bitcoin, or we don't, and we close it in the green. But that would mean that 2026 is going to be the best midterm year ever, and basically in continuation of a bull market, not really a bear market or something, I would say. So let's see how that could be playing out. It is definitely a very interesting scenario we have ahead of us up until that yearly open. But first of all, options expiry. Not a lot of new stuff, actually, or more stuff this week. The GDP growth was most definitely the most critical data. Tomorrow we have the Bank of Japan meeting minutes, which could be causing some volatility, because it will give you the reasons why they did hike the rate, maybe some underlying stuff the market is not aware about yet. We don't have a lot of other stuff there. Wednesday only, which is tomorrow, the initial jobless claims only. Then on Thursday, of course, is going to be Christmas Day. Same can be said for Friday, but markets will be open then. US stock market is closed on Christmas Day itself. So keep that in mind. And yeah, we don't have a lot. Then the day next week after, we have the FMC minutes. What else do we have? Balance sheet. The week after we actually have even less. Then in the new year, we might have some interesting things again. But it is going to be quite boring, I think, during the holidays. But I would love to be proven otherwise. I would love to see a big move occur during the holidays. But I think it's not the most realistic scenario now, to be honest. So yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. Oh, I stated this morning with the chart, and now everybody is just stealing the content, but it's fine. It's because it's a good chart, I would say. And guys, I think I will be ending it for now. Bitcoin is once again doing nothing on such big news. I would suggest that it's going to be causing some volatility at the stock market open. So we might be looking into how the pre-market performs now. Pre-market is red, actually. Interesting. US stock market open could be because of volatility. Let's see how it will be playing out. For now, we'll be ending today's stream. Thank you all for watching. If you're still looking for a place to trade, make sure to come over to Lbank, where we are going to open our next trading position. If you do want to join Lbank and claim some deposit bonuses, 50% deposit bonus and some other holiday gifts, make sure to check it out with that link in the description on this live stream. You can just come over here to the stream and then claim your bonus on Lbank. Is this working? Yeah. Make sure to come and check it out if you're getting interested in that. And for now, we'll end today's stream. If you still want to watch something, make sure to come over to today's update video. And yes, that's it for now. And I will see you guys within my next update video tomorrow morning.